Thank you, Reverend Hall. Before I begin this morning, I'd like to acknowledge that our bagpiper, Mr. Lee Collins, is in his 25th year of leading our graduation procession, so I'd like to offer a great thanks. I'd also like to extend an apology. If anyone heard during the baccalaureate someone singing the wrong second verse of the Sarum hymn, that was me. I thought we were only singing verses 1 through 4. I got a look from my wife that was not good. Well, good morning and welcome. On behalf of the Salisbury School community, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all parents, siblings, grandparents, and family who are present in the Centennial Quadrangle this morning for this closing moment of celebration for the class of 2015. I would also like to recognize members of the Salisbury Board of Trustees that are here, including our chairman, Mr. Michael Sylvester, class of 1959, and Mr. Dick Field, the vice chairman, who is also a member of the class of 1959. I want to tip my hat as well to the weather gods and have them keep with that breeze up that we just felt coming through. For great weather to host this grand occasion. I keep count, and over the last 24 years, we've been here for 23 of them, which is quite a record. Only one time have we been inside. I've probably jinxed next year, but hopefully not. You know, every year, I probably start out 10 days before graduation checking the Weather Channel, and 10 days ago, it was supposed to pour today, and I was really upset. And then slowly it changed and it changed and it changed, and this is what I hope for, although another cloud or two and maybe a little breeze would be even more perfect. As the boys know, we hold our school meetings right here twice weekly around these senior steps. And rain or shine, fall, winter, spring, we meet right out here. It is only when we think it's reckless to be out here, and it was reckless a couple of times this winter at 25 below, that we thought, well, maybe we'll move it inside. But I like to think that it's a symbol of toughness that we have our school meetings outside, and so it's very apropos that we're sitting right here today, where we are here twice a week. But today is perfect. Today is not reckless. Today is absolutely perfect, and I like to think that the sun always shines on a Salisbury School graduation. So here we are, once again, gathered on the last Friday in May, celebrating another tremendous class of Salisbury graduates. As Reverend Hall said, our boys, our sons, the class of 2015. This is an incredibly joyous moment, boys, but I also will say it's a bit wistful as well, and we'll talk about that later. To all the parents who are in attendance, I can only imagine the pride that you feel today. This is such a great moment for you all, a seminal moment for you and your son. Please know that we deeply appreciate the sacrifices that you make to enable your boys to attend Salisbury. It is a huge financial investment for every family, but it may even be a greater emotional investment. It's not easy letting your teenage sons leave home and come to this hilltop. It's not easy to place your son in the care of somebody else. So on behalf of the entire faculty, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to teach your sons, to care for your sons, to love your sons like they're our own. I often use the phrase our boys. It's intentional. You give us your sons for a pivotal time in their young lives, and it is a most precious gift, a most precious gift. So thank you. To my faculty and staff colleagues, thank you for giving your very best to the boys these years. You are the engine of Salisbury School. It is you individually and collectively who make us go. Famed Yankee slugger Reggie Jackson scandalously once said that he was the straw that stirred the drink for the mighty Yankees. Well, the truth is, with this faculty, everyone hits cleanup. Everyone. My father, a great teacher, coach, and schoolman, has always used the phrase, "Many hands make light work." That old adage is especially true in describing my Salisbury faculty colleagues and our faculty culture. And I'm very proud to have my father here today to witness this event. And finally, saving the very best for last, the soon-to-be graduates, you guys are the stars of today. This is your day, your time. These last few years of your life have been arduous at times, I'm sure, and challenging. There have been moments of pure joy and others, and I hope only a few, of bitter disappointment. But nonetheless, it's been a grand adventure, and no doubt you're better, stronger, and wiser for having made this journey. And today we gather together on the hilltop one final time to conclude your secondary school experience. Congratulations, boys, you've made it. Today marks the 114th graduation ceremony held on this hilltop since the Reverend George Emerson Quayle founded Salisbury School in 1901. And it is indeed a very special moment in each of your lives, as I just said, your graduation day, a moment that marks the transition from boyhood to manhood. It is a unique, once-in-a-lifetime moment, a day to remember always. In a few minutes, we will have the opportunity to hear from a noted speaker, Mr. Dan Kane, trustee and parent of Billy, who is a member of the graduating class today. It is a long-standing tradition to ask someone from the school's family to address the sixth form on their graduation day, and we are excited to have Mr. Kane as our guest. After this, we will hear from School President Duncan Morris, and I know that his recollections and prognostications of the future and the school will mark this day. And then, lads, it will be time to receive the symbol of your achievement, a crimson leather binder with a graduation certificate inside. And for those of you who are anxious, no worries, they're all signed. But before we turn to our noted speaker, I'd just like to share a few final thoughts with this group of boys seated before me, for they are indeed a very, very special group. Well, fellas, here we are, together one last time. It's been a long time since we began this journey together. For some of you, it started 4 years ago on a Sunday morning, September 12th, 2011. I can still see some of your 14, 15-year-old faces. Many of you were little kids. We talked that day about what it was like to be new in a place, and the difference between just being along for the ride and truly making a difference and taking advantage of a great experience. We talked about what it meant to be a great friend and why this brotherhood thing was so important, something that Reverend Hall just spoke about during the baccalaureate. Your class doubled in size the next year on September 11th, 2012 at our opening chapel. And on that day, we remembered and we bowed our heads in prayer, and we talked about family and what it means to be a knight. Those of you who were there, do you remember? Do you remember me sharing that old English definition of knighthood? That it signified adolescence, specifically the period between childhood and manhood, and that the old English meaning of knight was servant. I trust that you'll take that with you, boys. The world needs men who seek to help. Great brothers, great sons, great fathers and husbands, giving members of communities, and dependable, thoughtful work colleagues. That's what is expected of you as a Salisbury gentleman. And then on September 10th, 2013, a handful more joined this band of brothers. You'd all grown a little brash and strong as teenagers in the preceding years. And on that day, I shared with you a story of a young American soldier from World War I, and the words that he had written in his diary, which guided his thoughts. Do you remember? I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, and I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost, as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone. I can only conclude that you were listening because you've sought to honor those words in your lives on this hilltop. And finally, on September 9th of this past fall, we sat together in the chapel, the beginning of your final year at Salisbury. And it was a beautiful day, much like today. Do you remember how you felt on that day? The theme that day was leading with your heart. And again, you listened because you have. Make a difference. Be a good friend. Be a gentleman. Be courageous and work hard, and lead with your heart. That's really it. I don't have much more. You do that, and you'll all be great. Great. Thank you for your love, your hard work, your partnership, your humor, your patience, and your exemplary character. I said this last night to a group of parents, and I'm not supposed to say this. Headmasters are like parents in that we're supposed to love all of our children and graduates equally and fully. But the truth is, you guys are special. In 24 years, I cannot remember a group of boys whom I've adored more than you. And I am thinking of your classmate today, Dana Sundell, who chose to leave Salisbury this winter to care for his dying mother. That's a knight, and he will forever be a member of this class. Trust that the light in the cupola that sits atop of Maine will shine brightly throughout your years and will lead you back to this hilltop. We will greet you warmly and openly as sons. Congratulations. Before I turn the podium over to our speakers, I want to heed tradition briefly and spend a few moments honoring and recognizing outstanding service of Salisbury School's faculty and staff members. This morning, it is a pleasure to acknowledge a number of colleagues who have reached milestones in their careers on the Hilltop. Those members of our faculty and staff who are completing 5 years of service, please stand and be congratulated. 5 members of the faculty, Adam Bunce, Chris and Kim Phelps, Brian Finney, and James Simboli. Director of Health Services, Beth Vernally. 2 members of Salisbury's maintenance security staff, Jeff Celadon and Ned Corkery. And dining room chef, Big Rob Castellano. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Completing 10 years of service, 2 members of the housekeeping and maintenance staff, Ann Casey and Richard Congdon, and administrative assistant to the deans, Gina Tierney. Completing 15 years of service, college office assistant Tina Gomez, Rudd Learning Center tutor Marsha Ramuni, and maintenance technician John Randall. Completing 20 years of service to Salisbury School, chair of the art department Erica Crowfoot, Director of Athletics, Timothy Sinclair, class of 91. Director of Information Technology, Peter Rafestanger. Business Office Associate, Julie Morrow. And the key man, Bob Holmes. Celebrating 35 years of service to Salisbury School. This is a stunning accomplishment because he doesn't look much more than 35 years old to me. Champion of the arts, boat builder extraordinaire, and rock climbing guru, Mr. Roger McKee, class of 1972. Thank you, Roger. And finally, and I'd like you to begin your walk up here, Mr. and Mrs. Magera, I'd like to recognize John and Joy Magera, who are retiring this year after 23 years of service to the school. John is our longtime business manager, and he's played a starring role in the transformation of the school over the last 2 decades plus. And Joy's work with students in both the academic office and the health center have made a defining impact on so many grateful boys. John and Joy, we love you. We will miss you desperately. Please come back and visit us often, and congratulations on your retirement. It is a privilege and an honor to introduce today's graduation speaker. Dan Kane is a nationally recognized leader in the healthcare finance field. Before founding Kane Brothers with his brother James in 1982, Mr. Kane was manager of the healthcare group at Solomon Brothers, and before that worked at Blythe Eastman Dillon. Mr. Kane left Solomon Brothers to start Kane Brothers, recognizing the unique regulatory and technology challenges confronting healthcare providers. This endeavor has been and continues to be a grand success. Mr. Kane is a member of the firm's executive committee, and he is also a frequent speaker at industry and academic conferences and an author of publications, including Capital Finance, which is an Aspen publication. He grew up in Holyoke, Massachusetts, is a graduate of Brown University with a degree in American Civilization, and earned his MBA from Columbia University Business School. Mr. Kane believes strongly in volunteer service and is a trustee of the American Heart Association, the Hancock Shaker Village, and Columbia Business School. Most notably, however, he is a member of the Board of Trustees at Salisbury School and best known as father to Billy Kane, class of 2015. I asked Mr. Kane to speak to us today because I am inspired by his story. Boys, you've heard me say time and time again that you can do anything you want in this life. You now have the gift of a Salisbury education, and you're about to head off to your undergraduate experiences. 4 years from now, you will all be exceptionally well educated. You heard me, right? 4 years from now, not 5, not 6. 4 years from now, you will all be exceptionally well educated. And you'll be armed with important core values to guide you and infinite opportunities from which to choose. At that moment, you will have been given much. And you will have earned much as well. But at that moment, it'll be time to spread your wings, to fly, to follow your dreams. You're probably wondering, where will I go? What will I do? That is up to you.